Okay, so guys, today we're doing some Anubis, and I will go through the CT roles. This is something I like to do on maps where they are a little bit more complicated, or maps that people don't know that well. So, for example, going through every single player's role on a map like Mirage probably won't give you guys too much. But on Anubis, I think there are definitely some things I can teach you in the roles, even if you've played this map a lot. Um, and I'm gonna just start from right to left. So the first thing, or like the first position we'll be discussing is like B main. I will talk about what's kind of important and how to use your utility. So like one of the things that I think is really big but underrated is that a lot of people, they will come over here and they will smoke like this. And the thing with this smoke is that it does block off the area, and the T's, it's not like they can still boost over it, but it's not like a smoke like this is one that they can just push through. They can nade it, and they can use whatever on it, like they can nade it away and stuff. But what I find, which is a really small change but makes a big difference, is when I come here as B main player, I will always slow walk and aim around here. Because if you get the smoke to land out here, it makes it so you're able to walk out and jump behind it and play kind of headshot angle behind the smoke and check if anyone is B main. And so if you do the smoke like this, it puts way more pressure on the T's, because as they are coming over here to B, they need to start spamming the smoke. They will almost always use like an HE on the smoke. Like you can imagine if there's a smoke like this, you come over here as a T, you see this, you think, okay, I want to spam this, and then typically they will HE it to check if you're playing behind it. But even if they like nade it away, you're most likely playing against just one player here on B, and if you manage to get up on this ledge, you won't take that much HE damage, and it's like a very impactful 1v1, because if you win this fight, you can Molotov deep left, and this means you have all B lobby control, basically, which is a really good area to control a CT. So it's a super small thing, but I think it makes a huge difference. So instead of smoking like here in the middle, that's a no-no. Instead, just slow walk, aim on this line, and you get a smoke that goes out a little bit that you can play behind. It can also maybe give you some gaps to play in, but yeah, that's kind of the one thing. Another reason why this smoke is pretty interesting, I actually had this happen on stream today, but I was playing against guys where every time I was smoking this smoke, they would come over here and boost the orb up. And what I did in one of my eco rounds was, with the smoke being out here, and me knowing that they always went right side, I instead decided to walk through on the left side and kind of get behind the player and kill them here. So I think this way of smoking is just way more impactful, puts way more pressure on the T's. They need to basically dedicate a B lurk to checking the smoke, because if the B player from the T's is playing from the back and you smoke out here, he does not know if you are taking B lobby. He can't see this if you go behind the smoke. So you are making it much harder for the T's by doing something very simple. Playing B main, if your smoke is gone, there are also a few things I want to say. So what I tend to do is, if my smoke here B main is fading, and I've done the first smoke, I will try to stand in some way where I'm not kind of visible to the smoke, and then as the smoke is fading, I will try to Molotov up here on the right side. This is because if anyone is playing right side, then I'm Molotoving them out as the smoke is fading, and this is a pretty good chance at a duel. Even if I don't get a duel, I now know that the right side of B main is clear, and it allows me to take some different angles. Like, I don't know what that could be. Something like this, you could jump in for. You can jump in for like this as well. You could also play like an angle like this for info. I know some people play kind of like this, where you get like the first point of contact, but you can kind of always swing in and stay alive. You are able to sit here or with orb you're able to hold this side, with orb you're able to hold left side. Clearing out the right side after the smoke is also really good, because it gives you a bunch of information, or it will give you a duel if the guy's actually playing here. For flashing B main, there are a few different ways you can do it. Either, like what I like to do, if I do it a little bit delayed, so the T's are probably close, I like to just throw it right side. There are also the possibility, there's also the possibility of throwing it above here. But if I try to add grenade trajectory, I believe it's this one. What you will find is that if I throw a flash, this one actually failed. If I throw a flash, this is something different, right? Yeah. Anyway, we can maybe see it like this. Oh, it's not working for me right now. But anyway, the idea is that because of this structure, if you flash here, it's not high enough that it will blind anyone, so you need to flash really high up. But then also, if they are standing in some specific positions, like if they're standing more on an angle here, it could be that your flash doesn't go far enough to blind this guy. Where if you do just throw like a flash like this, it most likely will go far enough that even someone who's playing a little bit of an off angle here will potentially get blind. It's a little bit what you prefer, basically. Yeah. For B main, there isn't that much to say, honestly. Like, what you kind of want to do is chain smokes on this area if you can. And if not, then just try to play in a way where you can play for info. It is very much an anchor position, and it's a position where taking straight up fights as CT feels very disadvantageous. But it's also a place where if you have a good feeling for when you can push B lobby, you can win a lot of rounds by aggressing here. Because if you can clear out B lobby, your teammates can just focus on gamble stacking A, and even if they go through con, you are in a really good position to actually get kills, basically. I think that is kind of it for B lobby. I guess the last thing I would show you is I saw this off angle from Austin yesterday, and he claims that if you stand here on this angle, it's quite nice, because if they come up through connector, they will typically be peeking like here and here and here and all these things, and then peeking tempo, and then they might peek dark, but they're not expecting you. Like, they will have to go all the way out here before they see you. So this is quite a big off angle, and it's kind of the same case if they're coming in from B main. Like, they're running here, and if they swing up, they will, they are not pre-aiming this as they're running up. They will probably have their crosshair here. So it's an off angle that can work if your teammate connector dies and you don't have any more nades. You want to just stand somewhere where you can potentially get a multi-kill. You can try out this position. There are also...
Ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
If you jump spot,
yeah,
and like if you're out of util, or you have no smoke left at least, what's your reaction when you see them?
So if I have a Molotov, what I will do is I will jump spot. You used to be able to do it silently. I don't think you can do it, which I think is why it's kind of gotten a little bit out of meta. I guess you could try something like holding an angle like this, or even just jiggling here. But what I like to do as my reaction is just I take a step back to where I'm not visible, and then I bounce a Molotov off this, because it will always land in the middle. Let me take this grenade trajectory thing off. But by using this Molotov, it will always land in the middle. And now, obviously, the key thing is I don't want to throw this Molotov and then run out and peek, right? Because they are definitely holding me and going to be killing me. But it's a way to give yourself a couple of seconds. If the T's decide to smoke it, now you can maybe push into a different position. It will delay them enough that you have a bigger chance to win a round, basically. But there isn't a whole lot you can do. What I also sometimes like to do is you can even maybe jump spot like this, and sometimes I do get like contact on an AWP, and what I like to do is use this wall to bounce a flash off, and then you can you can peek, or you can at least make the AWP give up the angle. Like, so you, like, if you're getting pressured by an AWP standing here and peeking, I like to use this wall to throw my flashes. Because it goes kind of out of his vision and comes back in. That's really difficult to dodge as an orb. Unless you expect it, but then you anyway have to give up the angle. There are a couple of boosts, like this one, where you can have some interesting angle. I believe also you can boost like this. Oh. And you can go out on an angle. They used to be decently popular. I would say they're not so anymore. Like, you could even boost here if you want to have like a headshot angle. But it might be worth trying if you have like a saved weapon or something like this, and T's tend to gravitate a lot towards B. But yeah, other than that, I think I don't have a whole lot. Any questions about B main?
Actually, never mind.
Okay, otherwise just let me know, man. For playing the connector area, there are a few things that I would like you guys to know, and I would say it's not something that is, how can I say, it's not as deep of a position as B main in a way, because with B main there's a lot of kind of reactions you gotta do to what the T's are doing. There definitely also is when you're playing con, but I would say a lot of the tools that maybe a pro team will have, a player in a POC won't have this, or won't have this level of coordination. So what you will play a lot against, if you're a con player, is the T's will smoke here. And what I like to do sometimes is just on a timing when I feel like they are probably close in this space, I will just underhand my nade, and I might take a fight, check if they're water, and if they're not water, I can give this information to my team. If they are water, what I find a lot of the time is that when they're walking here, they are not so ready for this peak, myself included. And sometimes I catch the guy by, he wants to go here and he wants to do like a Molotov into con, and I catch him when he's taking out his Molotov, and that's just an absolutely free kill. The way you used to play con in CSGO was that you would either play like jiggling here or jiggling here. And as long as you keep your utility, both are actually pretty strong, because if they flash through the smoke, or if they just come here to peek, you can always just bounce a Molotov like that. You can even, if you want, like bounce it like this. And this will make it so they now cannot enter connector. This will allow you to do a smoke, the Molotov faded a little bit, but a smoke like this will make it pretty tough for the T's to actually gain any ground inside connector. If you're even better, like you could jiggle, you could Molotov, and like it needs to look like this. You're jiggling when you get contact your Molo, you keep your gun out, you're ready for the peek. If it doesn't peek, okay, and then you can even just bounce a smoke like that, and you kind of win the fight here in con. This is a way to kind of wait with using your utility until you actually need to use it, and that's what's really big, because connector is a position where utility is really important. This is a really tough space because it's so close quarters to fight in a good way. That's why you see so many CTs wanting to take fights out here on timings. But that has a lot to do with them being, I guess, a little bit too green and not understanding the bigger picture. Because if the T's have to sit and wait out their smoke, and let's even say the T's then will first go ahead and do this Molotov and stuff, and then after this Molotov, I don't know, I like to just bounce a flash like this as T and then peek. If I now return utility on this guy, that when this Molotov is about to fade, I just do this Molotov, boom, he can't stand anywhere, I follow up with this smoke, and as it pops, I'm swinging in. Now the T is blocked at least for the first, I would say, 55 seconds of the round. So about to 1 minute. In fact, it should be more, probably maybe down to 50 or something like this. And it's just time where you can now pretty confidently say they are not splitting B, because you've blocked them this hard. In fact, you're kind of using the T utility against them. And instead of, like, on Mirage, for example, Connector is a very active position where you're taking a lot of fights and stuff like this. I feel like Con on Anubis is a position where you want to play less active and actually play it almost like an anchor. Because taking these fights is just not good for you. And what I find on the Anubis B side is that as soon as the Connector player dies, there are so few good positions for the B main player to play. Like, a lot of the setups on B will be something like your Connector player is playing here, and then you maybe have your B main player playing here. And as soon as the Con player falls, it's like a house of cards that just comes tumbling down, because he now has to worry about 2 angles. Even if the B main player is jump spotting here for info or whatever, and then now his player dies, maybe he can Molotov this and he can try to go backside and he can like play for info, but it's easy to get overrun here. And that's why I think being able to block Connector efficiently with utility is really, really big. I don't think this position, as I said, is so deep, honestly. Like, some of it is knowing when to peek this, some of it is... a lot of Anubis B side as well is kind of linking up with your teammate. It could be if the B main player thinks, okay, they're not playing B main, okay, maybe we double push this together. Or if you feel uncomfortable on B at around like 35 seconds, maybe you double peek water. And if the T's are here, well, maybe you are able to get a kill, stay alive. Maybe you just stay alive, whatever. Maybe you just get contact, you fall back, then you use your utility, whatever. But this will allow you to know that it's going to be B. And if they are not here, it gives you an avenue of flanking, basically, with 2 guys. So the positions that like itself in Con is not so deep in a PUG, but having a good understanding of utility and when to do things is what's going to win you rounds. I will see if I can throw this. I believe there is like a smoke. I've not thrown it before, but I've seen it on the interwebs. I believe you can throw... I messed it up a little bit, I think. I think it might be a little bit more to the left. But there is...
the top left corner of the door.
Is it
Of the little window thing.
this
So,
window
like,
thing?
Yeah, so like the top left of the brick.
Like here? Or a little bit?
Yeah, like there, yeah, like there.
Okay,
Pretty sure it's that.
perfect.
Maybe it isn't.
No, I think it's more to the left, honestly. I will give it one more go. If we don't land it, it doesn't matter. I think it is somewhere on this line. It might be here. Yeah, I don't know. There is some way where you can... Yeah, this definitely ain't it. But either way, there is a way where you can get your Connector smoke to land here. And this will kind of win you a whole lot of space. There is also ST, like I believe if you go up, I don't actually even like know this one. It's somewhere around here, I think, where you can get it to bounce on top of the roof. Ooh, almost. Slightly higher. I will throw this one time, because I believe I almost had it. Maybe it's the top line here instead. The reason why this smoke is really cool, I don't want to dive too deep into it, but this smoke lands on kind of the outside of Connector. And the cool thing about this is that if the CTs are jiggling here, what they will probably do is they will return with their own smoke. But that requires them to play in here. And that's when, if you have a lineup, ST, like imagine the smokes are placed like this. If you have a Molotov lineup that works through the smoke, which I know some people do, like they have somewhere they stand here and then they go over and this definitely ain't it. But like imagine you have some lineup and you go over here and you do this Molotov. When it burns here, if you have the good one, it should burn everything. And what's so interesting about doing this this smoke and this Molotov is that as a CT, you only have 2 options when this Molotov comes. You either go and play in front of your smoke, or you go back and play to like where you give the T's the control, basically. So if the T's Molotov here, there is in fact no place for the CT to be except basically these 2 corners. And so even if you're smoked here, so long as you have a smoke in here, all it takes for you as a T to get the control is actually just spamming these two places. You can even do it from an angle. And if you don't get hit, like if you don't kill anyone, you can just jump in and now you win the space. I don't want to dive too deep into like T side. That's maybe something we could do at a later time. But I'm just telling you, this is how a pro team might abuse you if you're a connector player. And finding a solution for this is something that you obviously have to do if you get to this level. But as I mentioned, in PUGs and probably at the level that most of you guys play, you can pretty safely play here with utility without worry, because you won't get people that throw this smoke. You won't get all these crazy things. Playing mid is actually. Did we have
Go
any?
back to Con, 'cause
Yeah,
I have some
yeah.
questions.
Yeah, exactly.
I always felt like very pressured in keeping the control inside the room. Like, not necessarily keeping water control,
Yeah.
because that's a way too big area for one person to cover alone, even though you can double pick it.
Yeah.
But I always felt pressure to keep control. So if I get mollied, I would like flash myself back in, or I would like smoke the door and play in front of the smoke. I would be like very worried about giving control of this room because it's so close to the site and it just gives such an easy way to split. Because a lot of the time you don't really have any info on B main and how many are behind B main. So if you lose con, you just give them such an like short distance from con to site.
Yeah.
It's just easy to get split on.
Yeah.
So why is it like so meta to give the control?
I mean,
And it can be split so easily.
I would more say that it's just the fact that you want to slow down the T's to the point where they're spending a lot of utility around the map. Like, this is very black and white, but if you imagine that, like we take just this thought that I have, that we are slowing down the T's by basically a full minute. They have 0.55 left, right? If the T's don't do anything on mid and don't do anything on A, it's going to feel very weird as a CT. That's going to tell you, okay, it's probably going to be towards B that they want to end, because they are waiting out all this utility, right? And so if you're able to slow them down to the point where you end 0.55, the T's have most likely used a lot of utility, not just on taking this control, but just elsewhere to kind of make some kind of distraction. And what I like to do is, if I give this up, if I have somehow kept my Molotov, even if you get the feeling that they are taking this room, bouncing a Molotov just like this is actually really strong, because it burns out this side and it really slows them down here. That's one thing. Another thing is, it would be possible, for example, for the B main player to be jumping, if he has kept his Molo, to be jumping info, and then this angle I think is quite strong, because when you're coming out of connector, I mean, you're peeking all these angles, but as you're coming out here, you're always checking tempo, and then you check dark. You're not coming out like this, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So by slowing them down, you are making it so they likely don't have a lot of utility. And let's imagine they only have one smoke left. I think a really likely spot for this smoke to land is tempo, which means that this angle actually becomes a thing. Because if the T's were to execute B without doing any fakes, doing any pressure anywhere, and they would just go straight to the bomb site, you will almost always see this smoke. And that's why this angle, you can't play it. That really restricts where you can actually play connector from, and that's when it's kind of a problem, if that makes sense. This smoke is really shrinking the spots that you can hold this from. Like it's all like you can't be anywhere here if your teammates are pushing out B main as well, and it's basically all in one angle here. Like you can, if you're strong aimer, you can probably even go out and just like play this on aim. Like you check this, okay, and then you just like go. But if you're able to slow down the T's enough in connector, I think it's okay to give this space up, because there's so many positions you could play. Like you can be playing here, you can be playing here, And no matter what, as long as you just have someone playing info on B main in some kind of way, standing here, for example, is not that scary. And that would allow you to check connector on timing. Maybe you can even make it so your B player is like jumping B main, jiggling here, jumping B main, jiggling here. There's so many options, but it kind of requires the T's to not hit you with a full execute. And that's why by winning the utility battle in con and slowing them down, you either make their play quite obvious, or you make it so that when they play, they don't have a lot to play with. But I don't think you should feel like you have to hang on to this area the whole round, because the fights are uncomfortable. Like, as soon as the T can peek like here, I think it's T advantage unless you have an AWP. We're gonna get to that later, but yeah, this is also a really big reason why playing AWP here can be fucking strong. But I will do AWP last. So for mid, it is basically also a utility battle to some extent. I like to do this lineup. It is actually a little bit messed up sometimes. I'll try to show you. I aim here, and then I kind of run as far as I can. Because if you do this lineup, the smoke lands, so you are enabling yourself to peek the window. The only problem is, and I'm not sure if I can make this happen, but sometimes when I run, it will throw me to the side. There's like some pixel bug. I hit it on the way back there, but sometimes it will actually like push me to the side in the moment that I'm throwing the smoke, and it will be ending up like that kind of, and then you smoke the doors instead, and that's really bad. So there is most likely a better lineup. To be safe, just throw it before you hit this. I think it should still be good, and it actually might even, yeah, it's not great. Maybe it's actually amazing. It depends on how it blooms, I guess. But here's at least some kind of lineup. If you are the mid player, you don't need to use this lineup. Like, you can come over here if you want and just throw anything like this. I like to sometimes come and smoke mid for my mid player as AWP. Again, we'll get into that later, but I will sometimes throw the smoke and just straight up leave. What to worry about a CT? Well, the T's can boost. They will most likely smoke here. And if they are anywhere near a decent level, they will do this Molotov on you. So it can be really hard to fight this space. One way to do it is that on timing, you have a teammate maybe with a flash who does a flash like this for you, so you can check mid. Like, as long as you're standing pretty far out, this Molo won't fuck you up. Like, if I'm able to stand like this, I can ask for the flash, boom, I can check, and if my mid smoke is still up, this should be pretty free. Like, I hold it, a flash, a peek. One thing that both CT and T's do as well is just nading the smoke on timing and fighting. One more thing that's actually quite interesting. If you're playing in this space and you flash like this, you actually can flash mid for your teammate. And it will never hit your team. Like, if you just... I don't even really have a lineup for it. You should probably find one if you want to. But you can even, you can flash mid like this, and as long as your teammate knows it, it's a super good flash. It's much better than anything you can kind of do from here, because it will always be a little bit awkward with the angle. And another added benefit of throwing the flash from here is that the T's have zero chance to hear this flash being thrown. Like, no matter how close they are in mid, they won't hear this flash. So this is something that you can even make a setup with your B player, or you can have a call out for this flash. In my opinion, the most important thing as a mid player is understanding that mid is a position, kind of like connector actually on this map, where you're supposed to block for time, but probably not a place where you're going to win the round. So like, if the T's want mid, it's really unlikely that you are able to withstand the pressure of this smoke, this Molotov, and then this HE to blow up the smoke so he can peek, and he clears the door. And what I always do is I come over here, I spam the door, And then I don't know. I mean, I don't really do this flash, but you can peek this. The T's, if they go mid, will have 3 utility sets, and you will have 1, maximum 2 if the AWP comes and drops your nades. So it's a position where you should not be afraid to give it up. The reason why you're able to give it up and kind of get away with it is because playing camera is pretty damn strong. Like, these angles are strong. It doesn't seem like it, but it's actually a little bit difficult to flash, because what you would normally do is just like bounce a flash off this wall and peek with it. But what happens a lot of the time is that the flash actually lands behind this corner, and so when people peek you here, you have pretty good fights. Like, you can sit here, you can even sit some kind of an off angle here, like this off angle. There's also this angle down here where you're kind of playing headshot angle. If you have an AWP here, it's honestly even better, because these duels are just insanely free. And it is even a place that is quite easy to block if you get contact. So it is a position where if you had saved your Molotov and you jiggle this, you can actually just do this. And for the T's, it's impossible to go through, because if they want to turn off this Molotov, the smoke lands like this, and it's GG for them. Another reason why giving up mid is actually a possibility is because splitting B is something that the T's very rarely do. It's very normal for the CT setup to be 2 B players, and the AWP will always be floating. So the AWP will a lot of the time be towards B, and that's why it's rare that you see like a camera smoke with a B split. Especially because going in here, you don't know which side to peek, and even going through here, you're still coming through a very tight choke point. If you're going through a camera instead, it's still a tight choke point, but you only really have to fight in one direction. And especially if you have people coming from A main as well, you only really need to worry about heaven. So it's much easier for a T side to split A, and that's why, yeah, you don't really need to feel like you have to hold the mid to block the B split. It's really rare that this happens. Maybe 1 out of 50 rounds where the T's get mid, this happens. So see it more as a job for you to defend here. And if you were to get smoked, well, then your players on B should be able to handle this anyway, I would say. Yeah. This is a position you can play. So you could potentially have a setup where you are holding door. This is a position you can play. So you can have a setup where you're holding this and your AWP, for example, is holding door. You could play a position like this, which is one where you're holding the door, and you could have, for example, your AWP holding from camera to here. And one thing that I think is criminally underrated is that if you want to, before you like go up here, like as long as I'm sitting down here, I'm actually right now fully hidden from the T's. They can't see me at all. They can't see my head. And this is something where you could actually sometimes give them mid, and even if they do like the smoke here and stuff like this, you can peek this on timing and get kills. If you are really good at coordinating it, maybe you can even from your A player get a flash through camera that blinds them in a moment that you step up here and kill. I think it's criminally underrated. The only real good counter to it is that if they do like a smoke like this, I sometimes as T also Molotov here to block them from going out, and in this case you're fucked. But you still probably get 1 kill. I think it's criminally underrated. At least it was in CSGO. I haven't tested it too much in CS2, but I'm fairly confident that you will not be able to be spotted. It does look pretty dodgy, but I can tell you, if you're all the way on the left and you're exactly not up, it should be possible for you to hide here without being spotted. I've even played it in CS2. It is?
Yeah, we've gotten shredded by people doing that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's actually OP. Well, not OP, but it's unexpected and something I think you should add to your repertoire if you're a mid player.
Especially if you don't know if it's a spot. It's really strong.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We
Yeah.
had no idea you could hide there.
No, no. But that's the thing. People don't use it, and that's why it's right now criminally underrated, and you should use it a lot. I even liked to play AWP like this. Like, I would sit sometimes holding this, and then you can just check this on timing. Or you can even just hide, and on timing go check it. Like this. You can also, in fact, hold from here, like this, and then you could, for example, have your teammate sitting here. That way, if they kill him, they probably go fast. Maybe you can peek up, get a kill here, I don't know. There are actually many strong mid setups if you feel like they're going mid with AWP. But again, we talk about AWP later. So, are there any questions in terms of mid?
Kinda.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if the up is floating towards A,
Mm-hmm.
and you're giving up mid control,
Mm-hmm.
are the two options rotate temple to stack B, or as you said, keep camera control and have 3A, maybe take water control? But like if the up is already towards A, how would you rotate off mid?
So it really just depends, because if the T's know you're 3A, they will, if they have any brain, like, oh, they're 3A, okay, then we're just dropping water, we're hitting B immediately, boom, you know. Not saying that it's gonna be easy, but they only have to kill 2 guys, and then they have the side, and they know you have long rotation, and you have to be worried about if there's lurk in mid and all these things. But it's really rare that you know that they are 3A. So like, you could just have a situation where you as a rifle, you just say, okay, me and the other rifle on A, like the A player, we're gonna play a little bit aggressive A main, and then the AWP can hold here, for example. That way, if they come camera, they just see one AWP, and they don't know if it's 2 or 3A. You could obviously have some kind of a bait setup as well. I think the important thing is just to understand that if you don't give them the information you're 3A, if they're deciding to go B, it is a little bit of a gamble from them. And as long as you don't give them a way of knowing that you're 3A, you can do this freely, and you don't need to really feel like, I mean, I can at least tell you from my own experience, smoking this and going B split, it just happens really 1 out of 50 times. It's so rare, and from what I know, there are no teams in the world. I mean, there probably is, but like, I've never seen a team have a dedicated strat to splitting B, because it's just not a good tactic. Like, it's just tough, because if the AWP is starting B, or if they are 3B or whatever, he will always come here and he will always block this area, and he can always hold like these angles if you try to split, and then he can fall back, take new angles. It's so nasty. So like, if you're 3A and you give up mid and all this, as long as they don't know you're 3A, like, one way you could give this info away is if you're playing here with rifle and like you get contact, oh, you're falling back, and then you come over here and they see, okay, the AWP is here, they die one, maybe they are thinking, okay, they are 3A and now we want to just drop B. As long as you don't do this, it's a gamble for the T's if they want to go B or not. And so you should not over stress it. Like, I can tell you, I've had a million times I've done an A split on Anubis where I've run into 3 players, because it is just impossible to know, basically. At least that's how I see it.
Makes sense.
One last thing actually that I really like to do that I forgot to mention is, if you have this smoke, what a lot of T's will do is they will go over here and spam. I do it myself. And what happens a lot is that CTs will either like go here and pre-nade, and they bounce it off the back wall, or some CTs even pre-nade left side. But what I really like to do is that if the T's are spamming here, I just bounce the nade like this. Because as you can see, if I'm standing here and spamming, this HE is gonna land right in my head. It did actually 63 damage. No, actually that's not true. I think it did like 32. But it's a pretty solid way of getting damage. And also it's a very good HE if the T's like to boost mid early. Because if they're boosted here, you can imagine you're getting basically this damage on 2 players. So it's doubly good. Okay, I will move on to the A player, because I'm already running a little bit low on time. I had more to say than I thought. The A player, he can honestly do a whole lot, and I think the A player is arguably the hardest position on this map. There are like a million things you can do in terms of like, you can start by Molotov in the stairs, you can start by like HE in the stairs, whatever. There are some people who have lineups so that you can smoke this from spawn. I don't have it right now. I know Robs has like a lineup where he can do an HE that like bounces like this and actually goes down and hits here. There are people who do like an early Molotov somehow that lands so that it burns here. A lot of CT players will come over here and just bounce maybe a Molotov like this. And after the Molotov is about to fade, they will then smoke it off to block. There's like a million things you can do. What I want you to again think about is that actually being an A player again is a lot about playing on utility, because contacting out these angles is pretty difficult. Like, there's so much that can go wrong. So a good A player is able to slow down the T's, but he's also able to do a good job of blocking if an execute comes in. The reason why this second thing is so important is because blocking an A execute is, I would say, arguably the hardest thing in all of Anubis. I think this lineup is a little bit outdated, but for example, if you do this smoke... No, sorry, that's not the one. Let me turn off the smoke. If you do this smoke, you can get a really fast camera smoke, and then what I like to do is you can follow it up with this Molotov that lands right in front. This makes it so the rotation players can't help without running through a Molotov. And that's really all it takes. Then, yeah, I don't even actually know Heaven Smoke anymore. I think it was like this, but I don't even have a jump through forward bind. That does seem to kind of work. Now Heaven is smoked, and then from the Heaven position you can also do like a... I think you can do like a Molotov for Broken Wall. So now the execute looks like this, and it's just so insanely easy to throw these nades. Then it's super easy to do great A flashes that land in a position where anyone who's rotating in is blind. If you're playing side, in any way you're getting blinded, and the T's will never get blind. So these kind of things you need to be really good at blocking, because as a CT you don't have almost any space to play. And in fact there are a lot of teams where if you don't do a good job of blocking them early and you let them execute on you, they will even come and throw just like a Molotov like this that will burn you out of sight, so that you have no space to play whatsoever. The point of this is that if you are an A player, being really good at playing like close, I call it playing like magisk, so playing in a way where you're jiggling with utility, and if you get contact just dropping it and falling back, it can really save so many rounds. And while it's really boring to do, it's a very effective tactic of slowing down and effectively blocking an A execute, because if I'm jiggling here and it's not the AWP that's walking first, I will almost always survive. As long as I can drop this Molotov and smoke it off, it gives me at least a chance to play around the smoke to where even if you're doing a full execute on me, I can now try to get 1, 2, with a bit of luck, maybe 3 kills. That is what I have to do as an A player, because it's not even so much the kills, it's the slowing down that's important. If I can manage to make this Molotov stop burning and this Molotov stop burning, my teammates can actually come in and help. If I can get 1 or 2 kills, well, it means the T's are unable to take enough space to the point where they can only get to here as we are running through the camera smoke. And if we go like through it with chaos, we still win around a CT. So being an A player is really, really tough, and especially now where even if you smoke this off, the T's can nade it, and you are still very, very open. So A is just a damn hard position to play. I wish I could give a bunch of great tips, but I honestly don't think there are so many. It's a position, again, in my opinion, that you're gonna win on utility more than fights. And it's a position as well where it won't be used that much, especially in pugs, but having an AWP starting A is really strong, because you need the help to block this site. Like, you need the first guy coming in here to die. You need the AWP to play in a way where he can use his nades. You need all these things to ensure effective blocking of the A side. One thing that I only recently found out is that if you're playing in this position in CS2, I believe you can't be spotted from A main, actually. I saw someone playing it in a Faceit Puck recently, and I don't know if they can see you when they're coming up pillar, but if they can't, I haven't tested it. I think I'm gonna add a bot.
I think they can. Because I
From
played
pillar?
it one time and I got pre-fired.
Okay. Yeah, maybe they can see an arm,
I think your gun
but
sticks
here
up.
they shouldn't be able to see you, right?
No, but if they go up, upwards, like
Yeah,
up this,
yeah.
I think they see. Because that's how he hard cleared me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird.
But what would be really good here, I mean, it's just that if you have someone taking contact from you, like for you, from broken wall, they are never going to even see your shoulder here, and you can actually completely multi-kill from here. Like, if you do your movement right, or even if you just stand still here, this is a position where you can absolutely multi-kill. What a lot of T's do as well is they will do this smoke to kind of gain ground on pillar, and like playing in this area is quite interesting. I don't know if actually this is a good position, but if you play like this, and your teammates are able to create some distraction to the point where they maybe, instead of going like super slow and peeking this perfectly, I don't know. I've seen it work. You can try it out. As I said, there aren't a ton of good positions to play as an A player, so you gotta work with what you got. And
You think they'll see you less with an A4? Or is it
I
that
mean,
your arm sticks out?
if you look into the wall, your gun won't stick out, so it won't be the gun that kills you, but I think they might be able to see your shoulder. I think I might add a bot here in a second to test it out. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll open Anubis to check it out. Hold on.
Okay. Any questions about A? Okay. Yeah.
Quick question actually.
Mhm.
If you know that they are, or let's say they've been very A rush heavy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more in pugs. If I'm A solo.
Yeah.
What's the easiest way to just deny that immediately on a timing? Because it's often that they're getting to the door of A main the same time as I'm getting there. And I can throw a molly, but they can just run through it, right? I could like bounce a molly off one of those pillars, and it'll, yeah, they'll just run through it sometimes.
Yeah.
Is there a better option when you're solo to like keep sight, or?
Yeah, if you know it's an A rush, like doing this Molotov is strong, then you can hear if they run. Like, if it's people who are full crazy and they're gonna run through it, like, something that I think people don't understand well enough is that if you do a Molotov and you follow it up with an HE, this guy will always die. The slowdown effect of the nade and being in a Molo will always kill him. In the event that they smoke off your Molotov, this HE is still gonna be great. Like, doing a Molotov, following it up with an HE, and playing a little bit more passive. If you hear them either dying, or if you hear them turning off your Molotov, I will just instantly drop my smoke like this, and then I will try to play to block this area. If you know you're playing against a rush, you should not be afraid to be a little bit looser with your utility, I guess, is the lesson here. And I see it a lot, actually. It's like one of my biggest like pet peeves or whatever. On Ancient, when people want to block B ramp, they always throw a Molotov, but if you know you're gonna like play against a half bar, stuff like this, do a Molotov and then an HE. Worst case, you used an HE that didn't have any impact, but if they rush, you just completely destroy them, like, every time. And I don't understand why. I mean, I think the professionals do it pretty well, but the people in high elo Faceit Pucks, they still don't understand it, and it bothers me a lot, because if you want to block a rush, doing a Molotov and then an HE on top of it will always destroy it. Like, even if they turn off your Molotov, they're taking massive damage on the first player. You soften him up so you can kill him, and a lot of rushes have to do with the first guy getting space or getting an entry. And if you just pick off him and stay alive, the rush is just dead. So that's how I would handle this. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem, man. Let me see actually if I had some lineup as well. I feel like it was it like this. Like if you aim from this line up, I feel like actually it was like that, but my nature tells me it won't land. But like a little bit, if you put your shoulder on this and a little bit up, like maybe here, you have a perfect heaven smoke. In fact, this was actually better, like just in the middle of the square, I guess. But make sure you hit the side of the pillar. You have a perfect heaven smoke. I believe I had one lineup from here. I think I aimed on this one instead, maybe a little bit above. This is a way to re-smoke the heaven smoke from sort of safe positions, and it can save you, yeah, when playing against a retake. Yeah, that is it.
Can I ask something about it?
Of course.
What kind of timings do you look out for? Like, when do you push aggressive A? You know, what do you look out for, like, to do this? You know what I mean? Like, what situations do you do it?
Well, it's just, I think, on read, like on feeling. But you just gotta realize that A is just such a tough place to push because, like, some people play up here, some people play behind this, some people hold you from stairs, some people hold you from the pillar, some people hold you from maybe here, like down in the water, some people are holding you from up here, some people are maybe even, like, okay with standing like this, to the point where they can still block the water and they have, like, some crazy over angle. It's just not a good position to push unless you have a feeling. Or what you can also sometimes do is like double push it. Like if, for example, the T's are taking really heavy mid, using so much utility, you know they've been using mid a lot, maybe now is the time where you want to go and try to kill the A lurk, because in a world where they're playing 1-3-1, the B lurk is not here right now, the mid players are working on mid, and if you go out and trade the A lurk, all of a sudden the mid play kind of falls through. Like, their reaction to that will be, okay, we want to run fast camera, but if your AWP player is a little bit smart, he will play like this, and maybe have a Molotov just for camera, and then it's tough for them. So, I think A is a tough spot to push, is my point that I'm making, but yeah, it is, I guess, possible. So, yeah. Yeah. I'ma go through AWP real quick because we don't have that much time, and it is mostly just on like, okay, where you want to go. So like, I kind of have a rule myself. If I don't have any good idea on how I want to start the round, I will come and I will drop my smoke and my Molotov on mid, because for the mid player to have an extra set, we talked about it earlier, but if he's playing against 3 mid players, they have 3 sets, and if he has just one utility set, he won't win this mid fight and he won't effectively slow them down. So if he has an extra set, then when his like, he maybe uses a smoke, then after a while he uses a Molotov, then maybe he follows up with another Molotov, and then he still has a smoke, stuff like this. It's a really big difference. Something that I like to do is start up B main. I like to stand up on this sometimes. It's a little bit of a thing I have from CSGO, but it's just a bit of an off angle. You can take a shot, you can fall down. We talked about it as well, but playing up here is super strong. The reason this is so strong is because if the T's smoke this, which a lot of teams do, and they nade it, if they want to fight this, they are dead. Because they have to fight it fast when the nade pops. I failed it last time I tried to throw it, but I believe there is like a flash you can throw, something like this. Yeah. So the way this flash lands is that this will take you if you're playing left side with AWP, but if you're playing right side with AWP, you won't get blind by any flashes, basically. I believe there used to be a flash you could throw. No, sorry, it was this corner? No, where was it actually? Oh yeah, wait, it was something like you aimed here and then you would running throw it like this. A little bit below, or maybe I just fucked up the movement, but like, there was a flash you were doing like this at some point, which I do believe, at least in CSGO, worked to flash this. This is another flash that you can do, but as you can see, they both land so that it takes the left side and not the right side. So if you're playing AWP here, you can take a shot, You can maybe even molo this. You can try to take new angle. You can also play left side if you feel like they are going to contact you, but it gives you options. Now you know how to dodge the flash. At the same time, if the Ts are playing slow and they want to go with this flash instead, well, now it's better for you to play on this side because you will dodge the flash that bounces here. And if you're playing this side, now you get blind. If you're playing mid, I talked a little bit about it. I think this angle is strong. If you are ever able to hold this angle, it's really strong. If you're ever able to hold this angle, it's super strong. I like to go here, pillar. I like to stand on an angle like this, where I line up this part with this box. This is like the earliest angle, and what I will call a lot of time is I want my teammate to play jail and play anti. One thing that I always do when I do this is I will tell my teammate if I'm shooting on the flash or if I'm not shooting on the flash. Because what top teams do is that to check a main, if there is an AWP, they'll just sometimes bounce a flash like this. And a lot of the time I will want to shoot on this flash so that if I get blind, I shoot and I just fall back. And then this is the signal for my guy to turn around. A lot of the time I kill this guy, but in the case that they're using this flash to check, if I'm AWPing here, I want to switch it up. And so I want my teammate to know if I'm shooting on the flash or not. So if I say I'm not shooting on the flash, then he knows, okay, if this flash pops, I have to turn fast and be ready for a fight. And then, like, if I get blind, I will dodge and I will come here and fight again. So that if my teammate is fighting now, I can help trade. Yeah, that was super basic AWPing, but I think that's realistically what you want to know. Yeah. I guess this is one thing I can teach you. If you just go to the door here and you aim here, I believe this flash is quite good. AWPs will normally stand like this, holding cave. It's actually not that great. It used to be better, I feel like. Maybe it's at the bottom. See if I could actually see the thing. It would be better. Maybe it's further forward. That seems to be better. I'll check it real quick for you guys. It blinks. I'm pretty sure you can, like, someone that I played with had a lineup where you stand somewhere here. Maybe, I don't know, somewhere here, and you lined up on a brick, and then you ran, and then you threw it, and it bounced off this wall, and it flashed through out here. Like, it jumped like this at the end, and it flashed. The reason I don't like this flash is because it bounces so many times, and it's so obvious. I just prefer, yeah, this kind of flash. But yeah, maybe check it. For some reason I can't get my tracers to work, so it's a little bit hard to troubleshoot it now. But at least you can throw a flash that blinds this, and that can be good to call if you're an AWP. I also sometimes like to start A main and take this angle as fast as I can. If the guy wants to cross right side, if he doesn't have a good spawn, I will catch him here. And it can also be a thing where then I can, with my rifle player, move out and take this angle. Then he can search a little bit more. When he clears the stairs, I can take over the stairs, and then he can, like, maybe try to even take this fight. And if he doesn't get, like, a contact here, he can hold water from here without anyone knowing. Like, if you step this way. I have one final thing I want to say, and then I'm gonna do some questions, guys. It is just something that I played against, and because I played against it, I was like, okay, I need to fucking do this myself. If you line up this wall, and you aim here on the shadow, and jump throw, this smoke goes through, and it lands like this. And it is kind of the opposite of what we talked about, why you want to do it as a CT. But this smoke makes it so the B main player kind of needs to decide, does he want to play this side of the smoke, or does he want to play this side of the smoke? And if I throw it again once more, after throwing this smoke, you can then, if you want, when the smoke is there, you can, like, throw a Molotov here. Maybe even bounce it on the back wall is better. And this Molotov will make it so no CT can kind of be on this side, like the platform side. So if you time it well and you go into the smoke while this Molo is burning and you walk through. Let me throw the smoke one more time. It's now faded and I threw a Molotov since. If you walk through on the left side here. Oh, I hit my L on my keyboard. That turns off my smokes. Let's try it again. So, if you Molotov this and you're able to sneak on the left side, these angles are actually really favorable for a T, no matter what you're peeking, as long as you're peeking it correctly. Even peeking con is really good. I think, yeah, I'm not sure if this jump is worth it, but these angles are really good, and it also obviously gives you the opportunity to sneak right side. So instead of having one opening, you're giving yourself kind of two avenues to attack the B bomb site, and it's so uncomfortable for the CT player because he has to kind of cover B main, but he has to decide if he wants to play like left side and then his con player can die, or if he wants to play this side, but then his con player could honestly still die. So it's really nasty to play against, and the reason why I also really love this smoke is that it's actually a great smoke to throw if you want to do a B pop, because you're able to get into this smoke and then do the flashes and then run through and then have like a smoke popping here or a tempo smoke. And yeah, I'm just saying, just throwing the smoke and even using it for nothing, I can promise you it will give you guys a lot of pressure on the B bomb side. I think maybe there is a slightly better way to throw it. Maybe I need to aim a little bit more left, but yeah, you can experiment with it a little bit. I think either way the smoke is going to be pretty good for you. Any questions, guys, about anything?
Yeah, you talked a lot about like spotting for info, like jiggle peeking, and then using your util to block. But
yeah.
How often would you play around like this, and how often would you go for like aggression as a team on CT?
Well, the way that I see Anubis, because it's arguably the toughest CT side in the game, I feel like it's a map where if you let the T's execute on you, you will most likely lose. And it's also a map where if you block them with utility and then do nothing, you will also lose. Kind of. It's like, it's a fine balance in a way. There is a lot of aggressive plays you can make, like smoking these stairs, and then I believe there is some kind of Molotov you can do from here. I don't know the lineup, but you can Molotov so that it Molotovs here, and now the T's, they basically can't do anything, because then the guy who Molotovs this, he also does like a whatever flash. This is great and all, but what I've always thought is that if the T's respect this, what is the goal for the CTs? Like, okay, let's say I as CT can come over and I can be in this position, but what does this, like, what do I gain? If the T's just come to the stairs and they Molotov A main, and this guy comes and peeks you from this side, what is? It's not nice to be stuck in this position. So a lot of CT aggression on this map, I feel like, is either you play to just try to win a duel and die, like if you make it a 4-on-4, or you play in a way where you play hyper aggressive and hope the T's try to punish that aggression. And that's why the way I see Anubis is it's a map where you need kind of controlled mid-round aggression more than taking a bunch of fights. Like in Faceit, people are just peeking this all the time, maybe rushing out B main with flashes and stuff, but this is just very all in. Like either you get the kills or you don't, and that's what decides it.
You think it's a good way to sort of force the fights where you at least know that you're gonna get fights? If the CT hold is like hard, and this way, at least the way I see it, or why I think it works, is that if you at least control where you're gonna take the fights and where you're gonna put aggression with like 2 or 3 people, then you can at least get some control over which fights you take.
Yeah, and I mean that's good, but the problem with that is just that it, in my opinion, relies a little bit on the T's to make a mistake. Like if you use a smoke and a Molotov, like this smoke and this Molotov, and you take all this space, what are you gonna do with it? Like if the T's just decide to sit out this utility, and they have good protocols, I mean, they just wait out this smoke. They do, I don't know, they trade one Molotov, and then they maybe just do one smoke here, like something that works. How are you, like this is no longer a good position. There is no space out here that is good for you, and in fact, all the aggression you've done, you've slowed down the T's, but if they don't give you the fight, you won't gain anything from it. You have to leave the space, because parking someone here is just not good, in my opinion. The same, like one thing I've seen that has been successful as an early round play is, I saw FaZe a few times, like do a mid smoke, and then immediately get flashes over the mid smoke and jump through here with 2 guys and just take fights and hope to win. That can work, because it is something where you basically always will force a fight. If the T's are playing this in this space and they're not dodging flashes, you will probably kill them. If they're dodging flashes, you will definitely die. But it's a good way to force a fight. But I find the same on B main. If you as a CT get a flash out B main and you go out and you take these fights, but the T is not giving them to you, now what? I mean, you can Molotov this, and you could potentially even smoke it. But if the T's want to, they can just like have someone hold middle, and then you could even send 2 guys back to T spawn. Like I realize this is something that's obviously going to take time from the T's. This is a worst case where the CT's Molo and then smoke it and everything. But like, even if you Molo and smoke this, like the T's can just do a flash, jump through with a couple of guys and fight you here. And I think as a CT being stuck out in this space when the T's know it, it's just not nice. Like if the T's know I'm here, I'm not going to win this fight if they have a brain cell. It can be really good to change it up, obviously. Every map that you play, both CT and T, you need to be unpredictable, you need to change it up. But if you think the answer, and I'm not saying that you do, but if you think the answer to Anubis CT side is just doing random aggression, a random spot on the map, or like coordinated aggression on a random spot on the map every round, I don't think that's gonna win you rounds against a good team. You want to have it that you're wasting the utility, and then you have a feel for, okay, where are they? Like, okay, there's no B player right now, let's contact out here, or he's alone B, let's go out and try to trade him, or we get a flash, we check B main, okay, and then instead of leaving someone, we give it up, we just use it for info. I think something that's really powerful as well, which is underrated, it's kind of, again, this like Maggie's thing, but on overpass monster, for example, if you're able to peek deep and you know the T's are not there, you can jiggle the monster pipe with a smoke or a Molotov, and when you get the contact, you can wait a few seconds and then you can drop the utility. B main is sort of the same in that if you actually flash out and clear B main, and you're able to now jiggle like this with a smoke or Molotov, even if they flash and want to retake it, you can always just fall back, wait a few seconds, drop your smoke. And now the T's, if it's already late round, they can no longer go B, basically. It's too obvious. So I definitely think that Anubis is won a lot more on mid-round aggression than it is won on coordinated early round aggression. But obviously you need a balance, like you need to do both. It's just about, yeah, balancing it out. And I think mid-round aggression should be your main priority on CT set.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Is there a place where you can like almost always guarantee an entry with an op? Imagine like you save and then you are playing with some farmers and some MP9 and you have an op save. For example, on Ancient you can almost always go towards B and you pick banana and you have an entry. Like almost always. Because there's always some guy like holding doors so you can get boosted or they get boosted on the box.
Yeah.
So you can 90% guarantee an entry. Is there some place on Anubis where you can do the same? Because it seems like it's just hard to force any fight or pick anywhere where you have an advantage.
Yeah.
Because it's all about blocking.
I think, yeah, that is really tough. Like, a lot of T-sides will look like this, that in the start of the round they will Molotov here to deny CT aggression. If this gets smoked, they will nade it. And now you can't peek here as AWP. In mid, a CT, you can hold an angle, but that's really all you get. You can try to peek water, but it typically gets smoked, so you need to nade it first. And A main is also like very uncomfortable to push out, which is like, I think, why Anubis AWP, you have to think a little bit differently. You have to play it more on read rather than, like, this is something that I actually only just realized kind of recently. It's really a map where you can play CT-sided AWP in a way where you are playing in between. Like, when I'm playing Inferno, for example, I'm playing long. I'm especially in pugs where I feel like I have to carry, I would be like rotating towards B on timing, and then, okay, they're not going there. Okay, I'm rotating back and stuff. I'm like constantly moving. But for me, Anubis is more like a map where you want to use your AWP to strengthen a bomb site. Because if you are playing mid setup and they go A execute, I showed it already, but these grenades are gonna make it so you're just not gonna get kills. And a heaven smoke, right? And if the T's go B and they kill your B players, well, now temple is smoked, and you can maybe get here on timing to hold an angle, but it's likely that they also have this smoke, or that they will flash before they cross here unless you're on good timing and stuff. It's a map where when the T's have the sights, it's really difficult for an AWP to find an opening, I feel like. So I would say, to your question, there isn't really a surefire spot to get an opening. And that's why playing AWP on this map can be quite hard, because, yeah, you have to rely more on being in the right position at the start of the round, I guess. Like reading the play. Did that answer your question?
It did, yeah.
Perfect.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Tough to play because you don't have the reads and you just can't do anything.
Yeah.
You're just blocked if you're playing against some coordinated players.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you need some kind of like these setups or something where it's not like you need to get a peak, but you will potentially get a kill. You can try mid setups. There are things you can do on B. Like some AWPers also like to play this angle, which it can be good, but you definitely need some coordination with the team, that when you take the shot, the B main player needs to pretty instantly smoke B main. These kind of things. So yeah.
It's just so different from all other maps, like the play style of playing AWP. Because
Yeah.
on every other map, you're so free to just roam around and pick everywhere on timings.
Yeah.
Like, how many times can you pick one on like water on timing here on this map? Like, you can do it if you have a spawn, but that's it.
Yeah, and most of the time you're anyway smoked off.
You're getting smoked as well.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. I agree. I think we got time for one, potentially two questions. If someone has a burning question.
I do. So, basically, I've been playing a lot of Aila lately. With a new stock I'm playing with, and I noticed that the aim has really improved. So that kind of also affects like the positions I play.
Yeah.
So instead of in CS:GO, I feel like even against better opponents in terms of aim, I could still play passively. But especially now on Anubis, I've played the game today, and whenever I tried something more passive on mid, or sometimes I would be playing A, then it just wouldn't work. Especially because CS2 right now with deep peeking is
Pretty strong.
has changed so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have any advice for that?
I think just you gotta, to play passive, you gotta have a good understanding of how passive you can play and how to play passive. Like, I've seen a bunch of mid players, for example, where they will use the utility early, and then they will kind of have a feeling like they still need to guard mid, so they will like fight like this or like this, and in my opinion, this is just something you should never do. Like, you can play here for the information, but the goal is to end in a situation where you get some kind of mid information, and you are able to defend it from the A side, because as I've mentioned, T's really rarely go B split. So it's the same on connector. It's like you need to understand when to fight for it and when to give it up, kind of. If you play full passive every round on connector and you play it from tempo, for example, this is not gonna work for you. Or if you every round play connector from here and play B main from here, sitting like this also likely won't work for you. It's about knowing what you can and can't do, and that's always the hard part. But there isn't really some just answer I can give you where it's like something you have to kind of unlock within yourself. Like if we had a coaching session individually, it's something I could help you with, but like only a few minutes before kind of the time is up, I won't be able to go too much into detail, because it is like a lot of CS, or basically anything, if it's football or whatever. I mean, I bet Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, he could explain me how I need to shoot the ball, or that when there's a corner that I have to play inside the box or whatever. But knowing exactly the timing of when I need to move to this specific place, or do a body feint that throws off my man, or like the timing of jumping to when I need to hit the ball and all these things, like that's something you can only learn by doing. So I can give you pointers, and that's kind of what I've tried to do in this session. But how can I say, I can explain you the theory, but you have to kind of teach yourself to play, if that makes sense. Some things you have to learn. Otherwise, any level 5 Faceit player could have a conversation with Dupree, and then he would be ready for major, you know. That's the beauty of it as well. And I hope I don't come across as like disrespectful to your question or something, because that's not at all what I'm trying. I'm just trying to explain to you why I can't give you like a super black and white, good, helpful answer to a general question, you know.
Yeah, no, I realized it was general. It's just Anubis. It's just Anubis.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, no problem. If we got a fast question, we can do one more, guys.
Oh, I was gonna ask about next week. Can we go over Ancient?
I
Or
think.
are we gonna do something different?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that since there are demos now again in matchmaking, I was thinking maybe next week we do a demo review, because I think I will potentially run out of things to say in theory if I'm doing like a class where it's full theory every week, you know. Or at least it will be becoming very specific at some point. So I was thinking that next time we maybe do a demo review. But if you want, and if you can maybe remind me also, we can do definitely an Ancient sesh in 2 weeks, for example. Is there anything specific you want me to talk about? Like,
mainly just positioning.
yeah, okay.
Positioning I'm very interested in.
Yeah, I can.
I'd love to hear about the rotations as well on Ancient.
Yeah, I can also send some videos that I've already made about kind of these topics in general, so that if you guys want to have some of the answers already, you can go and watch them. Yeah.
Advertising.
No. But I interrupted someone, I think.
I had a tiny Anubis question,
Yeah.
which is, you kind of mentioned something about it, but like fighting for E-Box towards the end of Go, and as you said, now in CS2, dealing with the smoke outside of E-Box towards the B
This
site.
one.
Yeah, there's another map that has a similar choke point like this, where it's like, in higher level play when they're doing this and then they're mollying out E-Box and taking it, they're just forcing a CT out.
Yeah.
Does it turn into this situation where it's just like fighting for who throws their smoke last, where the CT just has a lineup, or somebody, or maybe their A player or whatever, has a cross map lineup to smoke the normal T E-Box smoke, or connector, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And then the B player mollies behind it and flashes after the T's take it. Is that how this is played now? Because I know the new smokes. I don't know what the response is.
I think there's a few different, like what you said is is a possibility. Like, just to make sure I understand it real quick. So if this smoke comes and the T's Molotov inside
wait
here,
10 seconds.
yeah, wait 10 seconds,
Yeah.
and then I will have some crazy lineup where I go over here and boom, and then I can, without moving my mouse, go. And I mean, probably you could even just underhand it, honestly, like this.
Yeah.
Um,
The molly is more important, so it gets the deep right corner, and then you can just flash in, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think what I would maybe do as a reaction is, if this smoke comes, instead of smoking E-box, I think another possibility is letting the smoke be a little bit. Your B player can still jump in full. If you hear any nades being thrown, because like, if they are smoking here or they flash or something, you will hear it from pillar. If you hear them throw any utility at all B, you just smoke B main. And if you don't hear utility being thrown, then you can smoke maybe B main when the smoke has been up for like 10 seconds. This smoke will allow your B player, like your B main player, to cross here.
Oh, to come flash you in.
Yeah, go here and do a flash that maybe they're not ready for, and then you swing in. If you've kept your Molotov as well, like, so if your response is just to save your nades when this comes, it can be even something like, you just stand in front of the smoke, you, whatever, Molotov here, you get the flash, you swing in, boom, and you, or even, and now that I think about it, actually, you could,
Maybe the entrance.
you could actually just have a lineup for just, like, you could just throw this Molotov and just spam left side, because there's nowhere else they can be, actually.
Oh, I see.
Now I'm thinking about it. Like, that makes sense in my head, actually. If they do
Yeah,
this,
because it's kind of like the T side where you molly out the right side and they have to stand in the middle of the door. You just do the same thing, but for the other side.
exactly. And I think the key here is saving your smoke allows you to block the B split. As long as your B player is jumping here as well, you cannot be timed, really. Like, as long as he's jumping, you keep your gun out. You check this on timing, in case they're walking out through the smoke, you know. Then, if he gets contact, you will kill the first B guy, and then you probably just need to fight. But in the event that, I don't know, they're not that fast, or if you hear any utility getting thrown, I think bouncing the smoke, like, is just OP. And then maybe even crossing it, like trying to play up in this space so that, I don't know, they don't just, like, double push you on some flashes or something. It is a tough situation, but this, like, this Molotov is actually kind of possible. Like, I think if they do
I think
this,
you eat it off the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you just get it in the back right corner, it'll spread fine.
yeah, and then just spam left side.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really much they can do against that. And then you could potentially smoke it after then if you want. So yeah, it's probably how I would react to it. Yeah. All right. Well, guys, that was today's session from me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got some of your questions answered.
Yeah, I did. Thank you very much, NATO.
That's great.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nate.
No problem, and same to you guys. Like, you are spending an equal amount of time as me, so I really appreciate you guys for coming as well. And I'm happy also that I see so many, I want to say new faces, but it's a lot of just my, like, my friends, or like people from my own friend
Never
group.
seen you in my life. Never
No,
seen you in my life.
but,
Never seen you in my life.
but
Who's this guy,
it's
guys?
nice that you
He
guys.
seems good at chess.
Which
Yeah.
He retired. I think I saw something about retiring.
Yeah. But
He is a Valorant player.
Not even a current pro.
no, yeah, it's a scam, man. It's all a scam.
Can we like all report this to
It's
Ghost
more
and,
worth it. He's full-time
like,
coach.
Why you
Yeah,
give
oh,
us
shit.
retired
That's
like coach? Give us some Carrigan. Give us something
Yeah.
else, man.
But
What's this outdated shit?
thank you at
I
least,
don't know
guys.
if it's like this.
Thank you so much for
Yes, thank you. Have a
coming
good
to
one.
the session. I have to wake up in 8 hours, a little bit less from now, and I need to
you're
get. I need to walk the dog. I need to brush my teeth, get ready for bed, all these things. So I think I'm gonna skedaddle
Ready
now.
to play esportal?
Yeah.
See you. Good
Tomorrow
night.
it is. Yeah.
Very
Yeah, man.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
See ya.
Night.
Bye bye. I need to